4 o'clock, we got our first of 2 4 o'clock games. We got number 15, Oregon, traveling to Washington State, and probably one of the more interesting games. And honestly, the afternoon evening, is just absolutely jam-packed with games that are super exciting. I mean, you can go back to 3:30, but Florida, Tennessee looks to be like a heck of a game. Texas Tech looks to be a heck of a game. Notre Dame, UNC looks to be a heck of a game. MSU, Minnesota, Indiana, Cincinnati. And now we got a 4 o'clock, Oregon, Washington State. Washington State's 3-0. It's an elimination game for Oregon, 2-1. Oregon favored 6.5 on Fox. Bo Nix has bounced back from his rough start against Georgia. He's gone 62-88, thrown for 672 yards, 7 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Marquise Irving on the ground has had 27 carries for 184 yards and a touchdown. And Troy Franklin through the air has had 15 catches for 202 yards and a touchdown. Cam Ward, quarterback for Washington State, has had a great start to the year. 67-103, thrown for 727 yards, 8 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, has a 65% completion percentage. Nikhil Watson on the ground has had 36 carries for 224 yards and a touchdown. And Donovan Ollie through the air has had 19 catches for 183 yards and 2 touchdowns. Oregon leads the series 52-42 all time. Last 3 games have gone to Oregon from 2019 to 2021. Last Washington State victory was in 2018, but that was with Mike Leach coaching them, right? But I like to point out how insanely good this game has the possibility of being, right? Oregon's coming off a huge victory against BYU, right? A lot of people expected BYU to win. Oregon proved they were the better football team against BYU. They look downright good against BYU. Washington State, on the other hand, has beat Wisconsin 2 weeks ago. They beat Wisconsin on the road in Badger Stadium. That's insane. But Washington State has looked like a top 25 team, and I expected them to be, honestly, heading into this week. The Cougars looked good. And honestly, the Pac-12 North has suddenly become an interesting division to watch, if I'm going to be honest. Oregon's obviously the favorite to win it all, but Washington looked awesome against Michigan State. Washington State has looked great through 3 weeks, and Oregon State has been kind of an underdog. A lot of people sleeping on the Beavers. They look really good to start the year as well. And honestly, you got a 4-team race in the North suddenly. And honestly, it's looking more interesting in the South. I understand South's going to be interesting when Utah faces USC. That's going to be a phenomenal football game. But suddenly you have a 4-team race in the North, and I think that's going to be a really interesting race to watch down the stretch. What do I think is going to happen in this football game? Honestly, I think Washington State's the better football team. I'm going to be honest here. I think the Cougars they've passed the eye test here early on. They have been a very good defense. Their offense has been clicking. And they've shown the clutch ability on the road to beat a good team like Wisconsin. I understand Oregon bullied BYU, but it's BYU, and I believe the name just doesn't carry as much weight as it does Wisconsin, right? Wisconsin carries that name recognition with it. BYU just doesn't have that, at least not yet. Maybe when they move to the Big 12. But Oregon beating up on BYU seemed less of a surprise than Washington State traveling to Wisconsin and beating them, right? I think Washington State's the better football team. I think the Cougars are really good this year, and I think the Cougars are going to win at home. And they're going to start out the season 4-0 and eliminate Oregon.